a lot of y'all have asked me this question of, your audio tracks always look so low, but the sound comes out powerful. We'll explain that. I'm gonna explain that to y'all tonight. Backstory. So my understanding of sound when I was in high school, I didn't really understand anything technical, okay? I used to think, and also, let me even go back before that. So let me start over. When I was about to graduate high school, I had a thought in my mind about wanting to record drums while I, make beats. You know what? Why would I be a drummer who doesn't record what he's playing? You know what I'm saying? And so I went through this phase of trying to record. I was trying to record drums. And so the most that I learned was that I would see people with microphones recording the drums. I didn't know there was a particular way of doing that. So if I can go to my Facebook page, I think I have a picture of what my first drum mic setup looked like. Peep this. All right, so peep this. This is my old drum micing setup. So as you can see here, it's a first act drum kit. First act, shout out to First Act. This was my first legit drum set, but before that was CB drums, okay? And so as you can see, you see the fan, you see the stool, you see the tom, you see the cymbal. There's a hi-hat back here near the window, and there's a snare here with a kick. Now, what you don't see are the microphones. Now, the microphones are kind of visible, but I want to show you where everything is placed. So I didn't have a multi-mic setup except for two. So I had to take two microphones and make them run. So I'll show you here. Right here, if you zoom in closely, I still got this microphone. Hold on. I still got this. Hold on. You know what? I don't think I have it anymore. I don't think I have it anymore. But basically, it was a handheld wireless microphone that you would typically see in a church setting. I actually still have the wireless receiver. I just don't have the mic anymore. And it's probably sitting somewhere in this room. I just don't know where it's at. But this was a microphone that was gifted to me from my church that I was going to. And so I had one wireless microphone that was sitting right above the snare and the cymbal, and right next to the hi-hat that was on to the left. And then over here, you have the tom. I just thought if you put a towel on everything, it also sounds better. That's not necessarily the case. But also too, I also wanted to record my toms. And so if you look here too, see this Ellis box right here? The Ellis box is holding what looks like a wired XLR cable microphone that is not only just getting the other side, like the batter head of the kick drum and the bottom of the tom. So when you look at this microphone setup, I wanted to be able to get total coverage. In my mind, I was like, this has got to be a crazy setup. And if you want to know what this setup sounds like, I have a good record. There was actually a record I did way back in 2016. I think it was actually this is what the record sounded like. I think I may have figured out what the name of the EP was. Yep. Found it. All right, those are the EPs. I need the albums. Give me the album. Where's the album? Patience. This was it. So, The name of the joint was called Simples or Simplest. I don't even remember what the heck why I called it this. But this was the track, and you're gonna hear the drums. You're gonna hear the drums right here.
Hold on now, player. I got something important to tell you.
If any of you guys who are watching want to watch all this back, I currently have a thing going on called Full Studio. Access $8 per month for the entire catalog of all these Twitch streams. It goes back to 2021, all the way up until right now. As well, the Access Plus option that gives you access to the catalog, the consultations, and a 30% discount code to anything I drop in the future for my sound packs right here. So if you're watching this, cop the full access, please. I'm gonna walk away now.
For more information, cop something from my store, wait for the email, and join the Discord for more. Now back to the video.
So this was the original drum setup. So that was the first joint that I ever recorded my drums on. And then I was like, all right, let me go ahead and do it again, you know? So this is a joint right here called Believe. Y'all hear how distorted it was? Now here's something even crazier. Let me go even farther back. There was this video I did back in 2014, precisely 10 years ago. This is what the drum kit sounded like 9 years ago. I was not that solid back in the day. The premise here is this. I had all of this. Is that the keyboard when you still got in the corner? Yes, that is the same keyboard. So the premise here is this. Now, I'm gonna paint this picture for you. So you guys remember this picture now. Keep this picture at the forefront of your mind, okay? All this was going into a mixer. It was going into a Behringer Xenix 802. No, a 102. This is actually it. This is the one. Yeah, this was the mixer it was going into. So picture those two microphones was going through this. It was going into this mixer board. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, this is cool, but I'm getting a lot of noise. Why am I getting a lot of noise that's not the drums? And so I went maybe 2 years after that point, because that was 2014. This bad boy here was what I recorded all my drums on. It was a Xenix 10002, and I had a mixer board basically sharing the channel 1 and channel 2. But I couldn't plug in a XLR microphone cable into these 5, 6, 9, 10 joints. And so I was very limited in my choices for what I could do. And so around this time, I didn't understand that the reason there was noise, right? The reason there was noise associated with the drums and I couldn't get a clean drum recording is purely because you need power to record on a microphone. And so I'm pretty sure you're like, it's power, electricity. It's a mixer board. You got to be able to, plug that in and da-da-da. The issue was that I was using dynamic microphones. And a dynamic microphone is like a handheld mic. It just picks up the dynamics. And the issue is for drums, you need to have more power to record drums. So this mixer board here, it'll give you a sound, but it's not going to give you the cleanest sound. And one of the biggest challenging developments, this might sound absolutely ludicrous when I say this, but there were no phantom power affordable USB interfaces back in 2014. Like, if you wanted to record more than 4 signals and not spend almost $400, you had to like know somebody who had a studio space. And so, yeah, phantom power. I needed phantom power. And so it was these little nuances where I didn't understand how to like properly gain stage my I didn't know how to properly gain stage. And so I ended up going to Full Sail. Shout out to Full Sail University. And I ended up learning a couple things about how to properly get a mic level recording and how to do it. And so around that time, there was an interface that Behringer had been talking about for like, I say a year. And I was also a college student. So picture this. They give you Full Sail, they give you a Scarlett. We all know what this bad boy looks like. A Scarlett 2i4. The 2i4, this was great for, recording vocals, but I was able to get like a phantom powered setup for the first time. Like, I was like, all right, great. I can finally plug in an XLR cable and record as much as I possibly can. Now, this was also another thing. I needed to record more than 2 mics at the same time, because I'm like, I got a full drum kit and I can't even record the whole thing. How can I do it? And so y'all have seen that setup a lot. And if you've watched my videos, you guys have seen me record with 2 mics before. This is it. So see this microphone right here? Does this look familiar to you? That's only 2 microphones. And so where the knowledge started taking place was that there's microphones that give you certain types of signals. Dynamic microphones like to record dynamic things. And dynamic things like a snare drum, a kick drum, a snare drum, a kick drum, toms, anything that is a big boom, okay? You like hit it and it gives you a lot of sound. That is what a dynamic mic is for. Now, the reason you also see this same microphone right here that's sitting a little bit between the snare and the hi-hat, I decided to do something a little bit experimental, but it was based off of previous knowledge, and it gave me a very similar result. I realized if you angle a microphone at the target that you want to record, it's almost like a camera. Microphones and cameras are pretty much similar, And I actually still use this microphone. If we take a look over here, it's the same microphone. This is what I like to call a condenser microphone. Now, condenser microphones are a little bit more sensitive. They don't just pick up the dynamics, but they pick up the space surrounding the microphone. And so before we get into the gain stage, and we gotta like address the microphone and how you're setting up the microphone. I had 2 really powerful signals, and physically I was trying to find a balance between all the signals that I was getting. Back to the story. 2016 comes, and I experience, really cool influx of inspiration. I started listening to jazz fusion and progressive rock when I went into college. I went from gospel to progressive rock, and I found a correlation between the two. And something that happened was like, I wanted to be able to record more than 2 signals. That was just my goal. I'm like, I don't want to have to go and pay studio time to record more than 4 signals or 2 signals. And so 2016 came, and Behringer decided to drop a bomb. And I mean, this bomb was And it was like the bomb of all bombs. They were like, what if we took the same kind of setup that Scarlett gave you guys with the 2 inputs and just add 2 more? So Behringer came out with the 4i4 Euphoria. No pun intended, that's what we're talking about. So the Euphoria Interface. This bad boy came out and I about lost my mind. Just take a good look at what this looks like. 4 inputs. You have your pads, you have your now if you're curious to know what these buttons are, line means a guitar instrument like a 1/4 inch. Plug it into that hole right here. What a segue. Yeah. So Behringer, they were like, yeah, we're going to give you the option to not only just record an instrument, but you can record a microphone, and we're going to give you 4 inputs. And so they gave you 4 gain knobs, as well as like a stereo and a mono mixing like knob. They were selling this on Amazon. $200. $200. You can get those 4 inputs. Those 4 inputs could get you a whole recording for $200. I was like, I'm for sure getting this for my birthday. And after I bought it, I recorded everything with this interface. After I recorded those last 2 projects, the Veil EP, Patience, It All Ends was all that interface. That was strictly It All Ends. When I went on tour with Sango and I was playing those beats in front of everybody, that interface gave me every sound that you guys hear on the volume 2, 3, any drum sound that sound like it was that interface. And so with that complete segue into what I have now, I have the Ultrafied 1820. Let me hover over it real quick. Look at this. You see 2 inputs in the front, have all these gains, but look at all the gains they give you. They give you 8. This is what I'm recording my drums with now, okay? And so my drums are being recorded on a rack unit called the UMC 1820. It takes the same 4 inputs and just doubles it. So it's for sure a powerful thing. I think I got this one for like $300. I got it for a steal. And even if you look at the back of it, let me see if I can find the back of it. Give me a back of the picture. Yeah, this is it. It gives you USB, MIDI in, MIDI out, ADAT, SPDIF, and then they got line outputs. There's also a main out left and right with all these inputs. And so before I begin this gain stage talk, I'm giving y'all the gear, all the gear that I'm using. Now, what's funny is the bigger the gear, of course, it gets intimidating, but the same rules apply. So let's say, for instance, if I wanted to gain stage this microphone, right? I'm going to even stop the music to explain this. I'm going to give y'all a really dry signal of my voice real quick. It's going to sound real low. It's going to sound really wacky, but hear me out. Hear me out. It's about to get serious. Let's turn off this signal, and I'm going to give y'all a dry vocal signal. And it's going to sound really weird. It's going to sound really weak. And I'm going to show you something. So let me cut this off. My voice is coming in pretty low. And if you can see here, I'm going to just reset this real quick. Look at this. Gain staging. Basically, taking the loudest signal and balancing it enough where you're not in the red. So I have 2 options here. Go to my handy dandy. I can go to my handy dandy and either crank it up like this, or lower it. Now, here's the thing about gain staging. Gain staging really depends on your. Oh, by the way, real quick, this is a TLM 102 condenser mic. This is perfect for vocals. It's perfect for getting a dry signal. I use this to record It All Ends, Fail. My buddy had this microphone back in college, and we recorded everything. Crash X Fleet said a lot of my sounds end up in the red on Ableton IDKY. The reason is because it's too loud, and you can see it right here. It is too loud, and when things are too loud, red simply means distortion. So, the best way when things are too loud, what do you do naturally when things are too loud? You turn it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my voice down. I'm going to go as low as I possibly can, and y'all can still hear me. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? I know I'm not like loud, but can y'all still hear me? Now watch this. Getting close. Getting closer. Turn it down even more. Let's even. I am screaming. So, the premise is the lower your signal is, you can raise it up later. But literally, this is what I would explain to anybody who wants to understand how gain staging works. Gain, the gain of your knob, the knob of the interface you're using. That thing, okay, can give you a boost on the microphone you're using. You can always raise up the signal later. So the input, the gain on the microphone, this is how it's going to come in. So I would highly recommend, if something is too loud, if your mix is too loud, or if your microphones are coming in too hot. Why is it coming in too hot? It's because your signal is too hot. So when something is too loud, you have to turn it down. Turn it down almost to the point where you can have complete control. Because look at the headroom on this. -16. I'm not even getting that loud anymore. And so let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to show y'all something really, really cool too. And honestly, I would recommend it like this. So let's say my voice is coming in like this, and you want to be able to boost it up a little bit. The number one thing you're going to need, and if you got the KFX rack, this is something I would highly suggest. Check this out. Saturation. If you want to be able to boost your signal, saturation is going to be, it's going to be your best friend, okay? Everything needs a saturator. So we're going to go to the saturation knob. I'm going to use KFX as an example. Go to saturator, crank it to like 100. And honestly, get loud enough. Get loud. That's what I would recommend. Get loud. And when I say loud, like pump that drive. Now, you notice something? Notice I'm not even using any like crazy processing effects. I only used the saturator to boost my voice back up. Now, if I get too loud, notice something? Notice something when I get too loud? It's louder. I don't have any compressors or anything. This is just a dry recording. This is just dry. Now, if I were to turn off the saturator knob, watch what happens. Watch what happens when I turn off saturation. Just watch this. Just watch. Yeah. And so, yeah. You see the pattern? So the saturation is going to be your best friend.